Okay, well, we want to welcome everyone. We'd like to definitely thank you for your time and the opportunity to host this event for our students here at Wytheville Community College. We're really excited about the fact that, we have a lot of students in our area that are interested in manufacturing and they pursue careers in manufacturing. So we do everything we can to promote the manufacturing industry and that cluster in our service area. So we're excited to have each of you here today. So I'm going to turn it over to Mandy and let her introduce our panelists and get us started.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mandy Barker, and I'm the program assistant at the Southwest Virginia Alliance for Manufacturing. We are a nonprofit organization based in Abingdon, and we work to support manufacturing in all of Southwest Virginia. One of our goals is to promote manufacturing as a great career option, which is the point of this panel today. You are going to hear from some really impressive manufacturing professionals and learn more about the benefits of a manufacturing career. I'm really excited about this panel because this is the most experienced panel of professionals that I've had for one of these events. So they're going to be able to give us lots of great information. I'm going to ask questions for about the first 45 minutes or so, and then we'll be happy to answer as many of the student or educator submitted questions that we can get to. And I think we're actually going to use a microphone and do those in the auditorium for you guys. So that'll work out. And panelists, if you would like to leave your contact info in the chat box or general information about your company, I'm sure Perry can get that to the students for us. And one other note, like Perry said, this is being recorded. So I'd like to begin by welcoming our panelists. First, we have Dave Bramow, the plant director for PepsiCo Inc. Blue Ridge Gatorade. Dave, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you manufacture at your plant.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. I am the plant director at PepsiCo's Gatorade Blue Ridge site in Wytheville, Virginia. We produce the typical Gatorade products that you're familiar with, right? Gatorade, G2, G0, Bolt, and Sobe. Fun fact about the plant, it's the third largest producing site in the nation. We produce just over 50 million cases of Gatorade on a yearly basis. I have been with PepsiCo just over 17 years, held multiple sites throughout the US. And I've been in food manufacturing for 35 years. I've worked in multiple supply chain positions, both nationally and internationally. So appreciate being here this morning.
Thank you. Next, we have Marty Whited, the Kaizen lead at Tadano Mantis Corporation. Marty, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you manufacture at Tadano Mantis Corporation.
Hi, Mindy. As she said, my name is Marty Whited. I'm a native of Russell County, Virginia. I've been in manufacturing for 26 years. I have worked for Tadano Mantis for the last 12. I've been in the Kaizen lead position for the past almost 4 years. And we manufacture crawler cranes. I work for the Tadano Mantis company, well, Tadano company. They have factories in probably, I think, 5 different countries. They've been in business for over 100 plus years. And here in Southwest Virginia, we create the crawler cranes. They're track driven cranes. They can pick up anything from a few tons to over 160 tons.
All right, very cool. Next, we have Bobby Epperson as Senior Engineer, Compliance and Facilities for Coperion Corporation. Bobby, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you manufacture at Coperion.
Thank you. I've been with Coperion about 8 years now, and I started here as a mechanical engineer and back into my compliance and facilities role for environmental health and safety compliance. Coperion is a world leader in extrusion, in extruders, and we manufacture the extruder as a whole. We also manufacture individual components for the extruders, as well as aftermarket products for other manufacturers' extruders. We have 11 facilities globally. We are part of the Hillenbrand Industries Group, which has about 5,000 people total globally. We are in casket business. Coperion is, as I said, Extruders. We have other subsidiaries that are all around the manufacturing industry, different types of manufacturing. I have my educational background is mechanical engineering, and I've been doing environmental health, safety, compliance, as well as quality, sustainability, those kind of things for over 25 years. And a native of Wytheville, got my 2-year degree at WCC, ended up going to Tech, and then on also to ODU, and back circled the world and back in Wytheville.
Well, it's good to hear that you're back here. All right, our fourth panelist is
Well, I never left. I've never moved, but I've been blessed to be able to stay here, but work around the world.
So I think you're a great example of staying in your hometown and having lots of opportunities here. A lot of students think that you have to leave this area to get a good job. That's really not the case, is it? Okay, our fourth
Not in my role. No.
Our fourth panelist is Melinda Roberts, the Human Resources Manager for Scholle IPN Packaging. Melinda is also a board member for SVAM. Melinda, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you manufacture at Scholle IPN Packaging.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I am a native of Smith County. I currently live on a mini horse farm in Chilhowie. I lead human resources at Scholle IPN Packaging. I've been there about 8 years. Scholle IPN produces plastic bags at the Chilhowie plant. Although we're a global company, we have locations all over the world, several in the US. So in Chilhowie, our biggest customer is Coca-Cola, and we produce the bags that actually attach to the fountain drink machines. So probably everybody listening has actually used our product at some time or the other. We also make bags for Heinz ketchup. We make dairy product bags. Chick-fil-A is one of our big customers right now. And then we also make oil bags. So we're expanding our business at one point, Coca-Cola was basically the bag we produced in Chilhowie. So now we're really expanding our business, which brings me to also talking about, we just had an expansion in the past year, and that was a 50,000 square foot expansion. So we're currently building that up and bringing in new machines and so forth. So we're really excited about that. Coming to Scholle, we offer, we're very competitive with our wages, full benefit package. We have a very clean and safe, family-oriented work environment. So it's a good opportunity, a good career advancement opportunities at Scholle IPN.
All right, thanks, Melinda. Just want to point out how cool it is that all of these panelists work for really large companies that have a really large reach. I know growing up, I thought Southwest Virginia was such a tiny little place and nothing exciting was happening here. But obviously we do have a lot of exciting things that are going out into the world. And I think that's a really neat thing to point out. So I want to address some of the misconceptions about manufacturing right away. I think the more you know about what manufacturing looks like today, the more likely you are to pursue a manufacturing career. When I talk to students and sometimes even educators, I often hear the view that manufacturing is dangerous, monotonous, and it's not really innovative or interesting. And that's probably idea we got from our parents or grandparents, depending on your age, who have worked in manufacturing many years ago. But that's simply not true of manufacturing and the careers available to us today. So back before the pandemic, when I could go into schools, I would ask younger students to give me examples of products that are being manufactured. And the first thing I almost always would hear is cars, especially among the high school students. And then usually somebody would shout out cell phones because that's probably what they were playing on at the moment. And to be honest, this is the type of product I think of too when I think of manufacturing. So when I was reading about our panelists, I thought it was very interesting that Dave works in food and beverage manufacturing. So Dave, as you have worked in this specific type of manufacturing for 35 years, what have you seen in terms of changing technology and innovation?
Sure. It's been huge, right? I think we could spend all day talking about what I've seen the last 35 years. It's been unbelievable, right? So in respect of time, and I think to narrow the focus, probably the greatest and largest and most effective impact I've seen is how we communicate, right? 35 years ago, believe it or not, and this may make some of the students laugh, but I was experimenting with this thing called email that came out 35 years ago. And, fast forward today, we're talking real time in a Zoom call. And who would have thought 18 months ago, we would even use Zoom in our vocabulary, right? So there's been some huge changes. The advancements in communication, has really changed the way that we work. It's changed society, and it's changed everybody's daily life. If you look back 20, 25 years ago, 30% of the US had internet broadband access. Today it's over 90%. 25 years ago, right? Cell phones, when the iPhone came out, there were 750 million global users. Today it's 8 billion. So, there's just been an explosion. And then it begs the question, right? How does that relate to manufacturing? I will tell you that same type of growth modeling that we've seen in communication, we've also seen on our factory floors, right? Through production automation, production advancements, to the point where, 35 years ago to today, a single person is 50% more efficient and productive than they were, historically. So we've seen lots of changes. And again, I think I could spend all day talking about what I've seen and what I've lived through, but, the advancements are unbelievable, and they're always for the better. So it's been fantastic. So hopefully that answers your question, Mandy.
That was a great answer. That is not what I would have expected you to say, but I mean, that touches every single aspect of everything we do. So yeah, that was great. Thank you. Bobby, I know you have so much experience across many different areas, but specifically as a certified safety manager. So can you tell us about the focus on safety in manufacturing?
Yeah, in 1995, as Dave said, 25 years ago, or a little over, when I first got into safety, I was asked to step into a role temporarily. And as I got to looking through the facility from an environmental standpoint, the safety really jumped out to me. And we had people using chemicals that were harmful to them with incorrect PPE or no PPE. And there wasn't a lot of knowledge on the shop floor as to what some of the harmful aspects could be. They all had a general idea, but nobody was really engaged and knowledgeable of the long-term effects and of what we were using at that particular location at the time. And so being with several companies over the years, not only in the US, North America, but around the world, the education level has just exploded on health and safety in the workplace. And I'm sure all these panelists can attest to the same thing. 25 years ago, when you mentioned the MSDS or Material Safety Data Sheet, some people knew what it was, but a lot of people didn't know anything about it. When you talk about ergonomics, it really wasn't on the radar, so to speak. And so as we as a culture have grown, as manufacturing has grown, so has health and safety and wellness in the industry, in the manufacturing industry. A lot of manufacturers now have health plans. We do health fairs annually throughout our company, or especially in the US. We offer benefits that if you go to the gym, we'll pay the membership, or we'll do so much toward your whole family's membership. And we have walkathons and things like that, not only to keep health and safety as a focus in the facility, but really health and safety as a focus in their life. I teach, and maybe common, may not be, but I've always taught safety was not a priority, that safety is a value. A priority is something that changes. A value is something that's foundational. And I know Lowe's has recently stole that on their commercial now, but I haven't got any residuals from it. But as manufacturing has changed, safety has become, in my opinion, less of a priority, because it used to be that quality or production would take precedence over it. And I'm not saying every company's the same, but I know some of the safety professionals at some of these other companies that are panelists are here and so on, but it has become more of a value. And the misnomer that you made mention of earlier, you know, when you think of manufacturing, you think of danger and loss of life or limb or something. And in today's manufacturing world, you know, Dave, Perry, some of the rest of us are under pressure in a sense to ensure that Bob and Bill and Sue does not get hurt. And it's to our best interest, not only to just the right thing to do, but from a business perspective as well. And we focus it on people and how we can keep individuals safe, not worry about the regulations and stuff like that, because if we're doing it the right way in manufacturing, and all of my years have been in manufacturing of some sort, if we take care of the people and keep them safe, the rest of it will follow. And I think there's a much better understanding of maybe where OSHA wants to be with manufacturing and is willing to help more versus being a compliance driven side. And as manufacturing has improved over the years, I'll say, or expanded, I think the knowledge of folks like Dave and Perry and others in leadership roles have now understand more than what we did 25 years ago on how to make our environments a lot better and safer as well.
Now, one thing that surprised me when I started this position about 3.5 years ago, and I would go tour facilities, was the focus on safety. There would always be posters hanging up, and when I did the tours, the tour guide would always talk about safety. So I think it's a big focus, and I appreciate that it's a big focus. And as a follow-up to that, Bobby, what kind of health and safety measures did your company implement during the COVID-19 pandemic? And has this past year changed the way that you plan to handle health and safety in the future?
Yeah, that's that's really an open-ended question. We, not only locally, but globally, were affected. We've got sites in China as well as Europe. And so we actually started, and I was one of 2 co-chairs of a task force that helped start it. We actually started mandating masks in February of 2020. We were ahead of the game a little bit just because we had some surgical mask use in the past. And so we were able to acquire masks early on. We had several N95s and KN95s available. So we implemented that right away. We also implemented sanitization stations throughout the facility. That we already had hand sanitizer and sinks and things to, you know, for your normal day-to-day that we used to have back in 18 and 19, right? But in 20, we also introduced additional stations throughout the facility to allow people easier access even. And we've migrated from just a cart with some bottles and gloves and stuff like that on it to actually creating stations throughout our facilities, and you know, different from location to location, but still the premise is that we're going to have that. And I see that as long term, simply because it's a good health and wellness piece. And then in addition to that, the temperature checks and scans and things like that, you know, we've always said, if you don't feel good, don't come to work, whether it's cold and flu season or whatever the case may be. That has taken on a greater emphasis. And that has also allowed us to do a lot of what we're doing here. I have probably worked no more than 30 days in my office that I'm here today. Maybe a few more days than that, but no more than 30 or 45 days in the last year. But was still able to do my job. So being able to continue that to have some flexibility if you're not feeling well or whatever the case may be. I can see that becoming more of a norm. And if you think about 15 years ago, there was a lot of conversation going on about how everybody's just going to be streaming TV and everybody's going to be working from home and all this stuff. And Bill Gates was probably about 15 years too early when he made that statement. But we're here now, and COVID kind of forced us into that. So I can see that that's changed, and industry has stepped up and really, to all the places that I've visited during 2020, has really stepped up and done a really terrific job. And I visited some sites outside of my company where they were doing some tremendous things as well.
Yeah, that's great. I've been very impressed with everything I've heard from manufacturers regarding that.
And one thing I will add with SVAM and Lenny Gale, we had a lot more meetings with the group for people to jump in and share topics and assist each other. And I thought that was a great opportunity, not just because of 2020, but in general across the board, that has helped quite a bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to move on to another misconception that many people have about manufacturing now, since we've talked about how safe it is and how innovative it is. And one of that misconception is that it's monotonous. It's just a daily grind. You go to work, you clock in, you stand on an assembly line all day, and then you clock out. Melinda, from working with you, I know you have a passion for connecting with people, and I know that you're just a really fun person in general. And I know that's something you carry into your job. So how do you make work more than just a daily grind for employees?
Well, thank you for saying that. That makes me feel good. But actually, Scholle IPN, we kind of have a different type of culture. We like to have fun. Of course, the past year with COVID, we've not had so much fun, as everybody knows. But typically, our culture, we have highly engaged working teams of people at the machines. A lot of them participate in the Kaizen events, which is our problem solving mechanism methodology that we use at the machines. We like for our employees to feel like they're invested in the business or invested in their jobs. So we look to them for a lot of the problem solving. Our engineers, et cetera, they work close with the hourly employees out on the floor, because the people on the machines are actually the ones that are in kind of in the daily mesh of it. So we try to capture any ideas or any improvements from our employees at the machines. And so they're working very close. It's really nothing to look out there and see the plant manager even out there at a machine helping some of the employees at the machine with whatever. So we are all, even the leadership team is highly engaged in the process. We do, we have like a theme-based engagement program. And what I mean by that is usually monthly, we'll change it up. We just do a lot of different activities. We tie our corporate goals into these engagement programs through HR, where we've got recognition and rewards that we're giving employees monthly for certain achievements. And those achievements and goals that they're meeting is actually helping satisfy our corporate goals or objectives for the year. So it all ties together, and we're actually rewarding and compensating the employees as well. They can win gift cards, they can win time off with pay, they can win we have like a lot of options that they can choose their own gift. So we try to have, put some fun in it. Right now, like for example, this month we have a bingo game going, and we're recognizing each department that meets all of the bingo goals, or even some individual, and then we'll change it up next month to something else. So we try to do a lot of activities just to keep people involved and keep people thinking. If you come to work for Scholle IPN, you're not just stuck on a machine and that's it day in and day out. We want your input. We want your feedback. We want you to be participating. we would really love it if you could come to work and kind of enjoy your job versus just like Mandy said, just the monotony of just a job, so to speak. So we try to challenge our employees. The machines that they're working on, it's not heavy duty. The machines do most of the work. So again, we want our employees to be thinking and helping us with the continuous improvement aspects of the jobs. And so basically, I guess to sum it up, we just have a really empowered workforce, and we do welcome any comments, any suggestions from them on a daily basis. We also have some other activities. We have some committees. We have an outreach committee, social responsibilities, what we call it. And we do, again, not during this COVID year, but once we get past this, we hope to get back to it. But we have employees that'll volunteer. They'll, and some of them, if it's their day of work, then they get to leave work and participate. If it's their day off, some of them even come in on their day off, but we might go visit the local nursing homes and have Christmas parties or a Valentine's Day party for them, or we may have a Relay for Life team. We do just a lot of fundraisers, and we let the employees choose that. For example, one of our employees' son really almost died. They were at St. Jude's for about 3 or 4 months. So that fundraiser is dear to her heart. You know, her child is fine now and all, but every year she helps put together a fundraiser for St. Jude's. So we do that. So we kind of, we try to customize it based on what our employees want and the needs that our employees have. It makes it more personal for them and they appreciate it more. So we try to just be super involved with the employees and just maintain really good relationships. So if you come to work at Scholle IPN, it is different. It's, you know, it's not a walk in the park every day. We have our own negatives as well as any other place of business, but we also have a lot of good, and we try very hard to keep the employees engaged.
Yeah, I love that you use the word personal. So your employees are so much more than just number, just a robot doing their job. It's personal. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's very important to have those, try to have the personal relationships with the employees.
Yeah. So I just mentioned how people tend to think that manufacturing is monotonous and just an assembly line, which Melinda kind of debunked that myth. But it's actually also a process of continuous improvement and always getting better and more efficient. Marty, will you tell us about the Kaizen activities at Tadano Mantis Corporation and how that ties into your company's continuous improvement process?
Yeah, some of the activities that we have done throughout my 4 years of being here, as some of them are small, some of them are, you know, bigger tasks. We've set up a lot of Kanban systems with our weldments and with our bolt bends. When I first got into the Kaizen, that was one of my first activities that we did was our bolt bends. Before we done set up any kind of Kanban system, the vendor came in, they just put bolts in the bin. We had no count, no accountability of what we had, no inventory. We didn't know what we needed per schedule. So we sat down and figured out what we needed with our bolts. We set up a 2-bin Kanban system to where when they empty a bin, they put the bin in the order thing, and that signals for the vendor to refill that bin. So now we have a way to track how much stock we keep and what we have. If we need to go out there and see, you know, what inventory we need to build a crane, we know what we have on hand. Some of the other things that we've done, we've laid steel plates down around their whole facility here for our crawler cranes to run on. And that helps keep them out of the mud, the dirt. It eliminates paint defects, or wash times and stuff. For a final assembly department, it helps them to get a crane ready to ship a lot quicker. And some of the other things, the hydraulic fittings, when I first came in, we just had them in a bin. There was no way of protecting them from dirt and other stuff. And with hydraulics, you've got to keep them clean. So what we put in place there is we got the bins with lids and stuff, and we eliminated, pretty much had a red tag event. We just got rid of everything that we wasn't using. And we put them all in bins with lids to keep the dirt, grime. And another big thing that we do is we do 5S audits. We do that on a regular basis. We do every department every month, and that helps feed ideals to our continuous improvement, which we have a whole core value team. The whole facility, everybody that works here is in core value teams. So they meet regularly every week. We have a safety, efficiency, 5S or 3S, and quality. They meet every week. And these audits, that gives us a chance to walk around as a group and find our shortcomings in our departments, whether it be housekeeping, whether it be safety, or just get new ideas, a new way to do something to better that production of that department. And that's where we get a lot of our ideas, is through our meetings and our core value teams. And they work on efficiency, safety. They work on it every week. And that's how we feed into it. That's how we keep our own people involved in continuous improvement, is these groups and these audits and stuff like that. So
that's great. And people are involved all the way from entry-level positions all the way up through upper management.
as soon as you come in the door, you are as soon as you go through your hire orientation, your safety orientation, everything, you will be put into a group, one of the core value groups, whether it be quality, efficiency, whatever. You'll be put in that group. And it's great for that with the new people coming in, because a new set of eyes, I mean, they might see something that people's, we've overlooked because we've done it for so long. So
yeah, that's wonderful. All right, so we've shared with you why we think manufacturing is a great career to have. Obviously, we all do, and how it's innovative, safe, and interesting, and continuously improving. So let's talk about how to get started in that career. The first thing we all want to know about a job is salary and benefits. That's always my first question, is how much are you going to pay me? So Melinda, will you talk to us about the pay and benefits in manufacturing and how that kind of compares to other industries?
Sure. Well, as far as, I can't speak for all the other industries, but I really think that most industries are competitive now and are staying kind of close range in the wages and benefits. But as far as Scholle IPN, our starting pay now, we have quite a few night shift openings, and our starting pay is $16 an hour. And if you come on board, you get in a training program. It takes 2 to 3 months, and you move up to a different level, an operator level, and your pay would go up to, I think it's $17.15. And then it just kind of stair steps up from there based on where you go. And we have, the annual merit increases as well. So basically, once you become trained, our wages end up being anywhere from $17 to $22, $24 an hour for the production aspect of it, the production departments. And as far as benefits, we have a full range of benefits. We have your health, your dental, your vision, 401k. We have life insurance that the company pays for your annual wage of life insurance, and then you can actually buy additional life insurance for pennies on the dollar. It's very cheap. The health, dental, vision, those type benefits at Scholle IPN, day one, they are in effect. So there's no waiting period for that. And as far as advancement opportunities, the sky's kind of the limit. You come in on entry level, and most manufacturing companies, if you like it and if you do well at it and you have aspirations to be more, there are career paths all over manufacturing. And to be honest with you, when I look at industry career paths compared to other area positions at outside of the manufacturing realm, to me, manufacturing definitely is the way to go to advance your career. And the money can be phenomenal in industry if you're willing to work hard, come to work, learn, and again, aspire to grow. You can have an outstanding career. I mean, I personally started as an HR secretary back in the day. And I went and I finished my bachelor's. I got my master's degree, and I stepped up to HR supervisor, and I've been in HR management for the last I guess, 15, 20 years. So, so it's possible. And as far as our hourly employees, we have a production manager right now that started out as a temporary employee, and she worked up. She got full-time. She got leads. She got operators. She moved into, she even worked in HR for a few years. And then 2 years ago, she got promoted to production manager, which is one of the top leadership roles. So, you know, and I think a lot of industry is like that. If you'll come in and you'll work hard, you know, there are career paths and places to excel. And it's just really, I think a lot of students and a lot of young people don't realize, because I didn't realize when I went into the clerical job just out of college, I had no thoughts about, well, you know, this could go where it actually went, you know, but once I got in there and I learned that I was pretty good at what I was doing, I could make decisions, that kind of thing. You know, it was just really cool how, you know, you can grow in industry. So my advice to any young people with aspirations to grow, please check out manufacturing, because it is a great career path. And I think that you know, Scholle IPN is a great company, but there are a lot of great companies around. You know, you've heard the other panelists, they are from outstanding companies. So, you know, shop around and give industry a try. I don't think you'd be disappointed.
Yeah, that's great, Melinda. Since Melinda's already touched on this, that another benefit of manufacturing is room for advancement. I'm going to skip ahead. I don't know if my panelists are following with the questions I'd planned to ask, but I'm going to skip ahead real quick. So, like I said, one benefit we don't think about is the benefit of advancement. So once you get your foot in the door with an entry-level position, you can work your way up in your company and career. Marty, I want to ask you this one. You have worked as a machine operator on an assembly line, and most of the students we have on here today are studying machining. And you have worked your way up to Kaizen lead. So will you talk to us about the opportunities you've had for advancement, including any additional training, and give students your advice on how they can advance their own careers?
Yes. When I started out here at Tadano, well, I worked first for an automotive company, and I just done general production. But when I did start here at Tadano Mantis, I started out in repair. I mean, it was the lowest job we had, pretty much just repair and weldments. I moved from that, moved up into welding, fabricating, and I went from there. And, you know, I just, every department that I've worked in, everything I've ever done, I've always looked for a different way to do it or a better way to make the job easier. And that's just a natural thing for me, is to go in and look for stuff. And I always question why we do it that way. You know, why do we have to do it this way? Can we, you know, move this table closer so we don't have to walk so far and eliminate that wasted motion? And every department I worked in, I tried to get the people involved with me to, you know, look at different ways to do stuff. And every department I worked in, you know, we ended up improving it. And I really, as far as the Kaizen position, I never thought that I would be in that position. But our VP of manufacturing, he noticed that everywhere I worked, because I started out in repair, worked my way all the way up to weld fab lead. Went from weld fab lead to running our paint shop. I was the lead over our paint shop. And then I got asked to come to Kaizen. And, you know, one of the things I have to tell is, you know, I always try to make your job better. I mean, not just for the company, make it better for yourself. I mean, so if you can eliminate, you know, 2 steps in every cycle of a job that you have to do, I mean, by an 8-hour shift, you've saved a lot of time. And then, I mean, it's beneficial to your health as well. I mean, it saves wear and tear on your body. But our VP, he offered this job, and, you know, he wanted me to come on as our Kaizen lead. And that was a great honor to me. I mean, I really appreciated it. But the advice I give is, you know, always question why, and always look for a better way, because you never know who in the company is watching you and looking through your departments. Because, I mean, there's manufacturing, it's limitless what you can do. You can, if you want to improve, you can, just like the lady said there before, you can go from a temporary to running a business if you're dedicated to do it. So I mean, that's the advice I give. Just, you never know who's watching.
Yeah,
Do your
that's
best.
great advice. That's wonderful. I want to talk about one other benefit of a manufacturing career that we don't often think about, and that's personal development and learning from other people in your company. Dave, I know you have a passion for mentoring. So will you talk to us about opportunities for employees, especially new employees, to experience these mentorship opportunities and how that can positively impact their careers?
Sure. Yeah. So PepsiCo itself has a multitude of avenues for mentorships, right? For new students like yourselves, they're there. You know, we have internships and co-ops. It's not unusual for every single site throughout the U.S. to have 2 or 3 interns or co-ops that we connect with people. A lot what Marty was talking about is what we expect out of those co-ops and programs. It's a lot about process improvement. You know, sometimes in manufacturing, we do the same thing over and over and don't question what's right and what's wrong. And we have new people come in with a new set of eyes, and especially new students come in and you know a better way to do things. We always team those people up with someone inside the facility that has some type of senior leadership. You know, it helps guide people to find their career paths, things that they're passionate about, things that they're interested in, what motivates them. And I think it's a great experience, especially for new students when you talk about internships and co-ops, to go through that type of cycle. So those are always available. You know, beyond that, we usually do our full-time hiring from our internships and our co-ops. So those opportunities and experiences lead to full-time positions with us. And you know, our campus program again is someone's always assigned to the campus hires. I will tell you that usually those relationships last a lifetime. Even whether you're staying with PepsiCo or you move on or you find something else that interests you, because of that relationship. And it's, you know, we have a very pretty static program that's in a guidebook of how to mentor and what we expect from the mentor and the mentee. And it's worked really well for us to go through those exercises. And when you talk about the magnitude of PepsiCo for opportunities, right? It's a global opportunity, right? So, you know, I'm not talking just about Gatorade. I'm talking about Quaker Oats and Tropicana, Frito-Lay, Pepsi. You know, I'm talking hundreds of facilities across the U.S. And, you know, a lot of those internships and co-ops and mentors, if people are interested to go from Southwest Virginia to California, that's available. If you want to go from California back to beautiful Southwest Virginia, that's available. So a lot of those mentoring programs help people not only identify what they want to do in their career path, but help with geography and where they want to end up in life. So you know, it's a very powerful program. Again, you know, it's not uncommon for those relationships to continue for a very long time. And I would encourage anybody that if you have the opportunity to be in a co-op or an internship, whether it be with PepsiCo or one of the other, you know, businesses that are on here, it's an invaluable way to find things that you're passionate about and what you like to do. And you'll develop some networking that's invaluable in your career.
Yeah, that's great advice. So obviously manufacturing is a great way to continually advance at work. And of course, with that advancement comes a higher salary, which is what we're all looking for. But first you have to get your foot in the door. So Melinda, when you're interviewing somebody, outside of the technical skills that these students are currently getting, what are you looking for when you're hiring?
Well, the most important thing to me is attitude, because we can take, I mean, there's nobody that walks in our door unless it's a rehire that knows how to make a plastic bag from our machines. So, you know, we can teach you that. They have to, you know, as long as you're teachable. But if you don't have the right attitude and work ethic, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how many skills you have, you're not going to be successful, because you've got to have the willing attitude, and so positivity, good attitude, you know, and just really excited work, about the job and so forth. So that's probably the most important thing I look for, is somebody that that has the right attitude, that is willing to learn, even if you don't have a clue about Scholle IPN or what we do. If you're willing to learn and express that and have a good positive attitude, I would hire 10 people with very few skill sets with that attitude, versus 10 people with excellent skill sets that just don't have the attitude.
Yeah, and I hear that from most HR managers. So that's great advice, I think, across the board, regardless of what industry you're going into. All right, I actually have a few more questions I had planned to ask, but I want to turn this over to see if we have any student or educator questions first. So does anybody listening in have a question for us? Any questions out there?
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear him?
Yes, I can hear.
Yep.
My question is for Dave with Pepsi. I'm curious, given the size of your facility and the vast number of employees that you have there, how do you coordinate like the bottling procedure versus the production time and the efficiency to make that a cost-effective day within a general daily operation, like a shift of work? How do you coordinate, given the number of shifts and the number of employees? Is there a system in place or a procedure for which you would, I'm sure there is, but could you give me a general idea of how that would be in effect?
Yeah, so it's a pretty complex model, right? So we usually forecast our entire year. Starting in November, we'll forecast the very next year. So we look at what we expect from anticipated sales, what we expect from productivity gains in the facility. We know the cost of goods that are coming to us. We look at sugar costs. We look at the raises we need to give our team members across the board. So coordinating that with, and then guessing what people are going to buy. We put all that together in a big model. So we use a lot of SAP is a big system that we use. We also have a downtime tracking system that's proprietary to Pepsi. It's called Zarpack. So we know what our line performance is versus our cost performance. And, I can tell you almost to the minute whether we're winning or we're losing every single day inside the facility. And that information is not proprietary to me either. It's actually down to our shop floor hourly employees. I guarantee if you walk up to any of them and ask how you're doing today, they could give you a pretty detailed answer about whether they're hitting the numbers that they should be hitting, if they're hitting their costs, what kind of waste levels they have, and the like. So there's a lot of information available to us in a lot of different avenues. And that's how we coordinate our day. But again, I will tell you that the team members know as much as I do about what's going on inside the facility and how they control all that.
Also have questions for both Marty and Bob. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Could you both touch on, say, the industries and maybe give us an example of what your products that you guys manufacture, the industries that you guys, the applications for such outside? Obviously, Marty mentioned with cranes and things of the sort. Could you guys touch on kind of where your production parts end up once they leave your facility? Kind of give us a general idea, maybe like the vendor company names that we might be familiar with, or perhaps automotive, like coal and barge industries, things of the sort. Could you guys elaborate on that just a bit?
Yeah, most of our cranes, they go a lot out west. I can't think of a lot of the crane companies that we sell to right off the top of my head, but a lot of our cranes are used in like windmill, and we have some in the train industry, stuff like that. Is where a lot of ours goes to, and into road construction and stuff.
Great, thank you. Who else was that question directed to?
it was Bob as well with Coperion.
Yeah, Bob.
Thank you.
I think you're muted, Bob.
Got me now?
Yes.
Sorry, I keep it muted because I didn't want to have background noise. My apologies. So our extruders go all over the world. We make smaller ones up to 177 millimeter diameter machines in the US. We make them up to 420 millimeters in Europe. Our extruders can be sold and used by petroleum companies. A lot of extruders are used in the Houston, Texas area to off-gas polypropylene or whatever that comes out of crude oil. We sell them to companies that make things like breakfast cereal, cheese puff snacks, any kind of food that can be extruded. Pharmaceutical products can be extruded. Companies that extrude vinyl siding, aluminum siding. Our equipment is in numerous industries, and a lot of times materials or items will be extruded that you wouldn't think about. So for example, Frosted Flakes is one. They're extruded. If you go to or flake-like cereals, I should say. If you go to like the non-meat meat products that are on the market today, a lot of that is extruded from plant-based materials. So without giving out a lot of particular company names that I probably shouldn't because of proprietary reasons, our equipment goes literally all over the world and is used in a vast array of industries.
PepsiCo uses your extruder to make our Cheeto cheese puffs.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to say because again, for you folks in the audience, it's very, I have to be very cautious because he doesn't need to know that we might make something for somebody else, right? But yeah, that's a great, thank you. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. But yeah, which one was it? What was you saying? The cheese puffs?
The cheese puffs come from your extruders, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And great extruder too, by the way, right?
Absolutely. Great product.
Thank you. That's right. I love it. Love it. Does that answer your question, sir?
It does. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes.
All right, do we have any more questions out there?
And this is just whoever wants to answer. Do you guys expect to see an increase in like production, job openings, that type after this pandemic kind of tapers off?
Melinda, I know you're hiring right now. Do you want to start with that?
Oh yeah, we've expanded our business, and we just got word that it's pretty much going to be explosive, our business. So we've got about 25 openings that we're trying to fill within the next month and a half, which is going to be a challenge in itself. So yes, and just to look around at other industries and to talk to my HR peers, most companies that I know in the area are hiring or have planned to be hiring. So yes, I see things opening up. I see a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah, thank you, Melinda. We probably have time for one more question if anybody has anything.
Yeah, if you were to describe the ideal employee's skill set and education background, what would it be? That's the thing, right?
I can take that, Mandy, if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, from manufacturing, I think if I were looking for the best skill set, right, I would use Marty as an example, right? In manufacturing, I think that if you have cross-functional skill sets and you're willing to, to vary your skill sets, work in quality, work in safety, work in production, work in distribution, and you have a thirst for all of that type of broadband skill sets, that's really the most effective employee. And in manufacturing, and I'm sure it hits all of us that are on here in the panel, people come and go, and there's always flexibility in businesses where you have to step into a new role. So I think in having cross-functional skill sets and capability is really an ideal employee in manufacturing.
Well, that answers it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we're edging up right on 11 o'clock, so I'm going to start wrapping this up right now. I've done almost 20 of these panels, and what I have heard today that I've loved is how all these companies, first of all, are pushing out products worldwide. We have talked a lot about food today, which I think has been great. And also, I love how these companies are taking into consideration people and their ideas as soon as they walk through the door. I really think that shows a lot about how much these companies care about their employees and how much they recognize how much you all as new employees have to offer. So I think that really just highlights how amazing manufacturing is as a career and what you're going to get going into it. So I absolutely hope that's something you all consider after you've heard this panel. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the panel and got some good information. I want to thank Perry Hughes and Wytheville Community College for hosting us, for handling the technology for this event. I'm sure you all were still on here when I was fumbling around to begin with. So thank you, Perry, for taking care of that. And Perry also handled the promotion, so thank you for that. I would like to thank our panelists for taking time out of their very busy schedules to talk to us today. Your knowledge and insight is very much appreciated. If you all have further questions, if you would like to look for available career opportunities, or if you just want to learn more about my organization, you can visit our website at swvam.org. We have positions listed for these companies on our site when they are available. So if you go to our site and look at the careers, you can find job opportunities there. And I would encourage you to do that, even if you're not getting ready to go into the workforce right now. It will at least give you some idea about what's out there. So please check out that website. We are always here to answer questions for you and to help you out any way we can. We love helping students. That's a big part of what we do. So please feel free to reach out. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.